What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. If you're new, my name is Kays and welcome. So without further ado, let's just go straight to the video.
If our DNA holds 14 generations of lineage, how does that relate to our past lives? Great question. Let's unpack this. So I'm going to do my best to explain this, but let's just start with the basics. So our DNA that's in the physical form holds 14 generations of information, like a storage facility. Our past lives are connected to, let's say, an IP address or a frequency signature or sonic fingerprint, whatever you want to say, that has been experiencing itself in different coordinates of time, realities. Those lives get recorded in various data points or stamps of time in nodal points used and referenced in torsion field physics, for example. Torsion field physics is essentially how patterned information is held in a torsion field. We are torsion fields, dielectric, electromagnetic. When you unravel that torsion, when you unravel that information, more information presents itself, or more codes, more data. So if you think about your lives, your past lives essentially are all happening at the same time. Okay, this is where parallel universes come into play. They're all happening at the same time in a different point in time, in space-time, different coordinates. The caveat to this is that your awareness is in this particular moment of time, in this linear construct of this particular moment that you chose to log in to this particular reality. More in the mechanics, you are light. Just wrote about this on Flirting with Infinity on my Substack. You're light refracting itself in different points in time. I know this gets a little crazy, but your soul is non-local awareness experiencing itself. Your non-local awareness logs in to experience itself in a skin suit. That skin suit is predicated by what is being held in the records of the DNA. That makes sense. That's uploading all of this patterned information that you need to override and become more aware of. If you think about mummies and you think about fossils, those fossils hold information, right? Your DNA has the records. It holds the information of that particular moment in time. So what does that have to do with past lives? You're living all of this at the same time based on where your awareness is. It's not like all of a sudden you're in the 1800s right now living that life. These are refracted elements of information. Your awareness is on this particular coordinate.
You basically are saying the body will heal itself if it's given the right conditions.
Yes, this is the fundamental philosophy that naturopathic medicine, quite frankly, homeopathic medicine, herbalism, Ayurveda, chiropractic, every holistic type of medicine argues. The human body is endowed with a spiritual force, a spiritual intelligence, a divine intelligence, which is directing the show. There are millions of metabolic processes happening right now in our bodies completely beyond our conscious control. Somebody's running that show. It's the divine intelligence in the human body that's running that show. The body knows how to fix itself. The body wants to fix itself, but it needs raw materials to do it. This is our fundamental point. The body needs 90 essential nutrients, 60 minerals, like calcium and sulfur and zinc and magnesium, 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C, 12 amino acids, and 2 essential fatty acids. A grand total of 90. This has to go down the hatch every day in order for the body to have the stuff it needs to function the way that nature and God intended.
There's no way you can find 90 almost anywhere around, though.
Well, but this is interesting, right? If the 90 essential nutrients are not present in the food, not all of them. And modern agricultural methods, through the overt use of pesticides, destroys not only the bugs that eat the plants, but it also destroys the bacteria that's in the soil that helps the plant suck up the nutrients into the plant body. So, if this is how much nutrition your body needs in order to just work the way that God intended it to, this is how much was in food maybe when you were a kid. Now this much is in food. Now you walk through life, experience the stress of life. Emotional stress, financial stress, political stress, environmental stress, viruses and bacteria and lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. Your body burns through the rest of its reserves. Now you're running on fumes and things start to break. So you run out of omega-3 essential fatty acids, you get asthma. You run out of calcium, you get heartburn, you get muscle tics or twitches or bad menstrual cramps, chronic low back pain, arthritic conditions, high blood pressure. There are over 370 illnesses directly related to a deficiency in calcium, right?
Whoa.
Over 370. So you run out of the essential nutrients your body needs, then something breaks. So you go to the only medicine that your insurance pays for, which is allopathic MD-directed medicine. The doctors don't know anything about medical nutrition. They don't believe that the body can cure itself, so they give you a drug that manages the problem. The drug, in its work...
Jesus in the Bible was not a person. The Bible is metaphoric, and Jesus was used to mean consciousness. Many Christians are still waiting for Jesus to come back, but what they don't know is Jesus is already here. People from all walks of life are waking up to consciousness. People are questioning things. Wake up.
Like I said before, we should always question everything.
Have you ever wondered why the witches were the first ones to get burnt during the onset of slavery and colonization? And if you are a woman, I'm sure you've also wondered why patriarchy hates women so much, why most religions treat women with disrespect, and why all politics exclude women from leadership. Well, there's a reason for all of that. By now, I'm sure we all know that the Bible is made up of different ancient mythologies, which are basically droplets of truth that were combined together to make one big ocean of lies. In the Bible, we are told that God created two people, and I want you to not give these two people gender yet. One was created first, and the reason was because they were God's co-creator, meaning they would help God create. Then the second one was created to be a companion and to toil the lands in order to provide, so God's co-creators would have an easy time co-creating. The one who was to toil the lands was given muscles for the physical lands, and the one who was to help God co-create was given muscles for the spiritual realm. One was made to be very strong on land, while the other one was made to be very strong in the spiritual realm. Men are very physically strong in the exact same way that women are very spiritually strong. The way a woman would never fight a man, it would seem unfair in the physical reality, is the exact same way a man would never go against a woman in the spiritual reality. So the reason why witches, which were just normal women, were banned was because in order for you to invade a premises, you must first seize and completely disarm the watchmen and the surveillance unit. Because in order to enslave the world, one must first enslave women and set the system in a way that keeps them enslaved for centuries. All systems of oppression are connected.
No, to me she looks like she's trying to communicate something. No, like she needs help or something.
Here are some European news that should be in the mainstream media but are not. According to David Martin, the coronavirus was first isolated as a pathogen 57 years ago. In 1966, the coronavirus was first used in the transatlantic biological experiment to modify human beings by the US and the UK government. In 1967, they did an experiment to inoculate human beings with the coronavirus. Later, in the mid-70s, the US and the UK government started figuring out newer ways to modify the coronavirus by infecting different animals like pigs and dogs with it. By the 1990s, the dog and the pig breeders noticed that the coronavirus was causing gastrointestinal diseases to these animals. Therefore, by 1990, the Pfizer vaccine was already developed for coronavirus, but the US and the UK governments pretended like it was a new development of the year 2020. According to David Martin, after administering the Pfizer vaccine in 1990, they realized that the vaccine did not work against the virus because the virus was rapidly mutating to escape the vaccine's impulse. In 2002, the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill published that the vaccines do not work on coronavirus because of its infectious replication defective nature, meaning the virus was a weapon meant to target and infect specific individuals without causing collateral damage on the individuals around them.
We do not collect body, face, or voice data to identify our users.
I find that hard to believe. It's our understanding that they're looking at the eyes. How do you determine what age they are then?
We rely on age gating as our key age assurance.
Age
gating, which is when you ask the user what age they are. We have also developed some tools where we look at their public profile to go through the videos that they post to see whether...
Well, that's creepy. Tell me more about that.
It's public. So if you post a video, you choose that video to go public, that's how you get people to see your video. We look at those to see if it matches up the age that you talked about. Now, this is a real challenge for our industry because privacy versus age assurance is a really big problem.
Look, you keep talking about the industry. We're talking about TikTok. You keep talking about the industry. We're talking about TikTok here. We're talking about children dying. Do you know how many children have died because of this? Do you have any idea? Can you tell me?
Congressman, again, it's heartbreaking.
Can you tell me how many children in America have died because of challenges like this?
The majority of people who use our platform use it for positive experiences.
That's not what I asked you. I asked you, tell me the number of children, of U.S. children who have died because of these challenges.
Congressman, again, the majority of people who come on our platform get a good experience.
I'm not talking about the majority of children. I want to know a number.
Dangerous challenges are not allowed on our platform. If we find them, we will remove them. We take this very seriously.
Obviously, you found one today and you removed it. We had to bring it to your attention, and I know I'm out of time. Thank you for being here. Welcome again to the most bipartisan committee in Congress.
I mean, at this point, they look like they are doing too much because...
What I'm not saying is that I don't think that this app is being used to spy on us from the Chinese. But what I am saying is that I think this app scares our government at how quickly, how readily, and how broad our communication with each other is. And that is a greater threat to their current agenda.
Just found out some really disturbing things about Ellen DeGenerate.
And I'm not worried about that creepy sweatshirt she's wearing.
But as we watch this video, the camera creeps inside of her house, and you can see that weird Evil Thoughts picture. I looked up the artist and he's into some really satanic stuff. And that's not even the weird thing. Look at this picture of Ellen sitting inside of her home.
This is the picture that was right behind her. Now look at the letters on top. These are the same letters that you write out during satanic rituals.
Look at this picture of her cutting her mother's hair. Now look at the picture above her head and try and figure it out. Oh my goodness.
Maybe people just appreciate art in a different way. I don't know. What do you think?
to hear this crazy conspiracy about iPhones. Have you ever thought about why an iPhone has its name? Some people think when Apple says I, it literally means I. iPhones are watching us, listening to us, and seeing everything we're doing. And some people have this link to the Illuminati. Don't believe me? What's Siri spelled backwards?
Oh, that's Iris. Wow, that is so suspicious.
If giants aren't real, who built this and why?
I mean, come on. That is so obvious.
Tried to warn us, y'all.
Tesla Motors CEO Elon Musk, it has nothing to do with cars. Instead, Musk warns about artificial intelligence, which he has called more dangerous than nuclear weapons.
With artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know those stories where a guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, you sure you can control a demon? Then work out.
They put the truth right in your
question
face.
about the gay agenda. You thanked it at the VMAs. What is it? How do you define the gay agenda?
The gay agenda. There's been this plan. Like, we usually go to meetings on Wednesday in black cloaks.
Okay.
Draw like a big star in the circle on the ground. We have like these cups of blood, drink it, pretty much, and we kind of like plan like world domination, like to make everyone gay, and then like decrease the world population. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
That looks to me like a joke. It's so sarcastic because...
Andrew Dawson filmed what he claimed was a giant on top of a mountain in Jasper National Park in Alberta, Canada. In the following days, he tried to get closer to find and film the creature, but in the process claimed to be stopped, harassed, followed, and stalked by the CIA. He then stops posting videos for over a month, and when he returns, uploads an update video that is extremely strange, and viewers pointed out that it seemed like it was forced. His next video that he uploads would be his last, because a month and a half later, sadly, tragedy struck. That's a brief overview of this strange saga. I just uploaded a full-length video documenting this on my YouTube channel. The flood of Noah wiped out all life on Earth, including the giants, but somehow they managed to come back, as told to us in the story of David and Goliath and mentioned multiple times in the book of Joshua. The Bible doesn't say exactly how they returned, but here's one strange theory. In the book of Jubilees, which is an extra-biblical text, we have the story of Canaan, Noah's grandson, who found a rock with carvings on it that had the teachings of the Watchers, or the fallen angels, the parents of the giants. Jubilees 8:1-5, paraphrased, says, "And he found a writing which former generations had carved on the rock, and he read what was thereon, and he transcribed it and sinned owing to it. For it contained the teaching of the Watchers. And he wrote it down and said nothing regarding it, for he was afraid to speak to Noah about it, lest he should be angry with him on account of it." Was this teaching of the Watchers that Canaan found some type of occult magic that brought back the Watchers or the Nephilim spirits, or maybe even resurrected these giants from the dead? If you look in that time period of the Old Testament, God had a major focus on teaching people to not be part of sorcery, necromancy, or divination. We even have a similar story in the book of 1 Samuel of the Witch of Endor, who King Saul went and consulted with to get in contact with his dead friend Samuel, and this Witch of Endor actually conjured up the spirit of Samuel. If you read the Latin Vulgate translation of the Bible translated in the 4th century, there's a very interesting verse that stands out in relation to this, and that's Isaiah 26:14, which says, "Let not the dead live, let not the giants rise again, therefore has visited and destroyed them, and has destroyed all their memory." So maybe some type of dark magic, some teaching of the Watchers, the fallen angels, is to blame for the giants coming upon the earth a second time. And we may even see this evil incursion once again. The Brenton English Septuagint translation in Isaiah 13:3 says, "I give command, I bring them, giants are coming to fulfill my wrath, rejoicing at the same time, and insulting." What do London, Vatican City, and Washington, D.C. all have in common? Well, quite a few things actually. These are different branches of control for the world elite to enforce a one world new world order. London is the world financial center, Vatican City is for world religion, and Washington DC is for the military. You can also see each entity has an Egyptian obelisk within their centers. This actually is the sexual organ of the false Egyptian god Osiris. In Washington DC and Vatican City, they also have a dome close by which represents the pregnant stomach of Isis, another Egyptian false god. When ceremonies are done at the Capitol building or Vatican City, the occultists who have worked their way into the systems believe that they are calling forth Apollo to be resurrected. That's why the presidential inauguration and announcing of the new pope are done by these two structures. It's to enact a type of ritual in which their goal is to have Apollo birthed through the obelisk and pregnant stomach dome. The occultists in control are hoping to fulfill Revelation 9:11, which states, "And they had as king over them the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, but in Greek he has the name Apollyon, or Apollo."
Wow, that is so crazy.
If you think the Book of Enoch is interesting, wait until you hear the Book of Giants. The Book of Giants was discovered in 1947 in the Dead Sea Scrolls discovery. The manuscript is dated to the 2nd century BC at the earliest, but could be much older. The same narratives as mentioned in the Book of Enoch of the fallen angels, their corruption of mankind, and their destruction through the flood of Noah is mentioned all throughout the Book of Giants. The scroll was found deteriorating, leaving only fragments of text, but the pieces of text we do have hold incredible information. The Book of Giants describes in great detail the fallen angels corrupting the genetics of all flesh that was on the earth. It tells us specifically in one of the fragments, fragment 1Q23 1+6, 200 donkeys, 200 asses, 200 rams of the flock, 200 goats, 200 beasts of the field, from every animal, from every bird, were selected for miscegenation. Miscegenation refers to the mixing of races or species, particularly in the context of sexual intercourse. The next text that follows makes it absolutely clear that this wasn't referring to different species breeding with each other, but actual cross-species genetics involving the seed of the fallen angels themselves. It's important to notice that giants and monsters are referred to in unique, distinct references. We know from Genesis 6:4 that when humans and angels mated together, that the offspring they produced was giant humans, half human, half fallen angel. Fragment 4Q5312. They defiled, they begot giants and monsters. They begot, and behold, all the earth was corrupted. Through this, we can come to the conclusion that these fallen angels were breeding with animals, and their offspring would be half animal and half fallen angel and very large in size. This reality would make sense with all the ancient depictions of monsters and creatures. Maybe those creatures weren't figments of their imagination, but actual half-human, half-fallen angel monsters roaming the earth. These beings maybe could have even held the capacity to think and reason just like the giants could. We know that giants had the capability to hold conversations because of the account of Goliath challenging and enticing the armies of Israel in 1 Samuel 17:8-10. A fragment of the Book of Giants also confirms some of these monsters having the ability to reason and communicate, when some of the giants had dreams of their destruction and shared these dreams with the monsters. Fragment 4Q530, column 2. Thereupon 2 of them had dreams, and the sleep of their eyes fled from them, and they arose and came to, and told their dreams, and said in the assembly of their comrades, the monsters. These monsters didn't hold the same connection to the fallen angels as the giants. The Book of Giants and the Book of Enoch describes the fallen angels' close connection to their children, the giants. Whereas these monsters were their offspring, they weren't cared for as deeply by the fallen angels as the giants were. Here's a verse from the Book of Enoch. "And inasmuch as they, the watchers, delight themselves in their children, the giants, the murder of their beloved ones shall they see, and over the destruction of their children shall they lament, and shall make supplication unto eternity." The Book of Giants, fragment 4Q530, fragment 7. The children of angels are the giants, and they would not let their loved ones be neglected. All throughout the Book of Giants, the giant children offspring of the fallen angels and humankind were having ominous dreams of their destruction. One of the giants has a dream of a tablet with many names submerged under water, and when lifted from the water, only 3 names remained. This dream symbolizes the destruction of all the unpure fallen life forms on the earth through the flood of Noah. The great flood of Noah now makes sense. Noah, his family, and the animals that were brought onto the ark were brought on not because of their righteousness, but because the rest of creation had been corrupted by the fallen angels and their genetic manipulations.